Similar to yesterday's video, we're going to be going over what are the 5 fastest TTK close range weapons, which include SMGs and some assault rifles, to basically let you know what guns you should be using. So the first thing I want to show you is the TTK values of all the SMGs along with the KASTOV-74U and also the Chimera, which is the new weapon in the game. These are very aggressive assault rifles, so I thought I'd add them to the list. And this is based on 250 HP, which is 3 armor plates. Now, not every opponent you're going to come against is going to have full 3 armor plates. But I do want to basically give you the maximum TTK. And then also we do have this mixed shot location right here, which is based off of my Cold War stats. I'm a 1.4 KD player inside Warzone 1. We don't have barracks yet for Warzone 2, so I can't really give you what my KD is on that one yet. But that's above average, so we're going to go over the stats here. Now, the main TTK ranges I want to focus on is the range 1 and range 2. Range 2 is mainly just for consistency's sake, because if guns drop off around about 8 to 10 meters, you might want the gun to perform the same kind of level of TTK up to about maybe 15 to 20 meters. And then obviously the first TTK range is probably the most important. So let's take a look at that and see what guns are at the top here. So we've got the Fennec, the Lockman Sub, the Vasniv, the Chimera, and the MX9. The VEL-46 is also there as well. But the Fennec is outperforming pretty much every gun by quite a bit, to be honest. The only thing that lets this gun down, to be honest, is the fire rate and the mag capacity, because it burns through ammo really fast. But I suppose that's a trade-off of having one of the best TTK guns in the game. Lockman Sub is very, very close there as well. So, I mean, that is the one that I find the most balanced. But again, you've got a lot of other choices with the new additions. When it comes to the second damage range here, again, the FENNEC-45 actually comes out on top once again, which is very surprising actually. But at this range, you're probably missing a couple more shots than you usually would. Then we've got the Chimera, which is one of the solid choices for close range in my opinion. Lockman Sub's obviously up there as well. Vasniv again is a reason why it's still high up on this list. And then we've got the VEL-46, which sits there as well. The next thing I want to show you is a recoil chart with the builds that we are going to show you in just a moment. This is probably not as important as the one we did previously with assault rifles, because for an aggressive weapon, recoil isn't a super important factor. But just in case you did want to extend the range on some of these guns or the builds that we've shown you, then this is the recoil chart that you should expect. The VEL-46 is by far the easiest weapon to control on the list. It does just go vertically upwards and there's not a lot of side-to-side bounce, and keep in mind this is more of an aggressive build we have on the gun. Then the Vasniv has got a lot of side-to-side bounce, but to be fair, it's actually relatively easy to manage for the most part. The Fennec is a bit difficult to control, to be perfectly honest with you. Even if you pull down on your stick, there is a lot of side-to-side bounce. The Chimera, even though it is relatively easy to control, the recoil goes upwards and to the left, which not a lot of people actually like to try and control. Upwards and to the right is probably the most idealistic recoil pattern, or just vertically upwards, of course. And then we've got the Lockman Sub, which is vertically upwards, but it does travel up very quickly, so it's still not the easiest to control at close range. So I do think the Vasniv, the VEL, and the Chimera are probably the 3 easiest to control on this list. The Lockman Sub is definitely my favourite gun to use, because the 2 damage ranges that we said was important, this gun performs really well in, and on top of that, it's got a bit better damage per mag than the Fennec, so that is why I prefer this choice. When it comes to the attachments, I like the Stockless mod. It gives you the best possible movement speeds. You cannot tune this attachment, unfortunately. Then we are going for the TCG10 rear grip, which helps with recoil control. The attachment tuning is what you see on screen just now. And then we've got the 50 round drums, which is the largest available. This is going to be the best choice for trios and quads. If you are playing solos, then the 40 round mag should be perfect. Then we've got the Brown Warrior grip. You can also use the Merc foregrip as well. Both do the exact same thing, to be perfectly honest. It just depends on what you like the look of. And when it comes to attachment tuning, this is how you want to tune that attachment there. A bit more towards mobility and movement speed. And then we are using the point laser, which helps with hip fire accuracy, recoil control, and sprint to fire speeds. In terms of testing this out at the firing range, when it comes to hip fire accuracy, it's very accurate within that 10 meter mark, which is really important. At longer ranges, you can definitely control this weapon, so you can control up to there. You try and fire at a target at super far ranges, then obviously you're not going to do very well with it. But the hip fire accuracy is what I really like about this one. And also the aim walking strafe speed is really good because movement in this game is absolutely dead. So having that strafing speed whilst you're firing, I think is actually very handy. And this is why it's my favorite MP5 build. Next up, we have the Chimera, and there's a reason why people are actually using this as an SMG, because as I've shown you, the TTKs are absolutely amazing, and the recoil control of this gun is really good as well. Not to forget that you get an integrated suppressor on this gun by default. So if you are using this as an SMG, it's a solid choice. And then you can carry unlimited AR ammo for the most part anyway, so you don't even need to worry about that anymore. So we are using the Ravage 8 stock. This is going to help with crouch speed, sprint speed, aim down sight speed. It's basically the movement stock. We are attachment tuning this more towards movement because this is an assault rifle. We do need to kind of bring this in line with other SMGs in the game. Then we are using the rear grip. Again, this is the Bruin Flash grip with the sprint speed and aim down sight speed. Attachment tuning you'll see on screen just now once again. 45 round mags are an absolute must on this weapon. If you're playing solos, you can use the base mags, but I don't really recommend it. You do need the 45 on there in my opinion. Bruin Warrior grip, once again, you can choose the Merc grip. It's going to do the exact same thing. And then attachment tuning is what you're seeing at the moment. Then we are using the point laser once again, which is going to help with sprint to fire speed, hip fire accuracy. The laser is visible, but that is not really too important when it comes to super close range. Taking this build into the firing range, when it comes to hip fire accuracy, it's actually not too bad. But as you can see, at range, it performs a little bit better than even the MP5. It's not going to, again, get to that 50 meter mark, but that's not what we're looking for here. We're looking for good TTK values, being able to land your shots at close range, and have some kind of hip fire accuracy. Now, the only thing that kind of lets this gun down compared to the MP5, in my opinion, is just that strafing speed is not quite as fast as the SMGs. Now, can you build it to have a bit better strafing speed? Probably, but obviously you want to keep some control in the weapon as well. Next up, we have the fastest TTK close range gun in the game, which is the FENNEC-45. Not really much needs to be said about this weapon because it does kill the quickest, so if you just want the fastest possible killing gun, then this is the choice for you. We are using the stock cap for the best possible movement speed, but if you do struggle with that, I would recommend going for the Loctite stock. That also works really well as well. Then we are using the stippled grip for the recoil control. I do think you need it, especially using that stock cap. Attachment tuning is what you're seeing on screen at the moment. 45 round mags is an absolute must on this weapon. There's no other way to use it, to be perfectly honest. We are using the Bruin Warrior grip once again, and attachment tuning is what you see on screen. And then we are using the point laser, which is the one that is visible but gives you sprint to fire speed a bit better. When it comes to hip fire accuracy, once again, this gun's really good. Strafing speed is absolutely insane with this as well, and that is down to having like the no stock attachment essentially on here. So you are going to get a super aggressive weapon, and again, landing those shots at a distance is not going to be the best, especially with the damage per mag of this weapon. Even if you were able to land those shots, it's still going to take a long time, or your full magazine essentially. Next up, we have the Vasniv, and this is built more for movement speed, and you can make this a sniper support. And we do have other videos on the channel already going over sniper support builds for this weapon. But like I said, for an aggressive SMG build, you do want the 45 round mags, which is an absolute must on the Vasniv in my opinion. The Demo X2 grip, which is going to give you recoil control. And again, this is the attachment tuning for that one. Then we are using the Marquise stock, which I do think is better than the VLK stockless. Even though you do get better movement speeds, I feel like it just causes the recoil way too much and kind of takes away from the kind of identity of this weapon in particular, because it does have a bit more control than guns like the Fennec and the MP5. So you do want to keep that control on the weapon. Attachment tuning is what you're seeing just now on screen at the moment. And then when it comes to the laser, we are using the Grime Line laser, which is going to help with sprint to fire speeds, but it is visible at the hip. And then Bruin Warrior grip once again, and the attachment tuning is what you're seeing on screen once again. Now, taking this into the firing range once again, when it comes to recoil control, as you can see, automatically is a lot easier to control than some of the other weapons we've showed you previously. And that is because you will be able to land your shots even at that distance there. And when it comes to hip fire accuracy, it's actually not too bad either with this build. So as you can see, the laser is definitely doing its thing. And then when it comes to the strafing speed, it's definitely better than the Chimera, but it's not quite as fast as the MP5 or the Fennec, of course. Last but not least, we've got the VEL-46, which is basically the best hipfire gun in the game, and they did basically try and nerf it a little bit, but it's still a really solid choice for that reason. TTKs are not probably the best, but basically if you consider the fact that you don't need to aim down sight with this gun whatsoever, then you're cutting down the aim down sight speed and then your practical in-game TTK. So the build for this gun, you are using the soldier grip, which is basically going to give you sprint to fire speeds and aim down sight speed. Attachment tuning is what you are seeing on screen at the moment. Then we are using the demo stock, which is basically going to give you sprint to fire speed and aim down sight speed if you do need to aim down sight. And again, attachment tuning is what you see just now. And then we are using the hip shot laser, or you could choose the point laser as well. I think the point's the better choice, to be perfectly honest, just because it gives you better hip fire spread. And then when it comes to the Brune Warrior grip, we are using that once more, and we are having the attachment tuning on screen just now as well. And then the 50 round mags is not 100% necessary with this gun because the base is 40. So if you are playing solos, then just go with the base mags. But for trios or quads, then 50 rounds is definitely going to be necessary. But you definitely have really good damage per mag with this weapon. With 50 rounds, you don't need the 60, that's pretty overkill. Now the main thing for this gun, like I said, is the hip fire accuracy. Even at this range here, you can actually hip fire and do really well with it, which is so strange. Now if you are aiming down sight and firing, like I said, you can still land those shots. Similar to the Vasniv, at that range, you will still get kills at that 50 meter mark. But it's mainly the hip fire that's absolutely crazy with this gun. And you can actually go for no stock on the MP7 if you really want to, or the VEL-46, whatever you want to call it, and it'll give you a bit better strafing speeds, but the strafe speeds are already really decent with this gun anyway. But again, that's going to come down to personal preference. If you do enjoy this video, don't forget to subscribe, and thank you very much for watching.